All right, now talk about art shows. Three Rivers
So,
starts this week.
Just oh yeah, because it's June this weekend. So is Columbus this coming weekend too?
no, the following.
Yeah, it's usually the second weekend of Three Rivers.
So, Old Town is 2 weeks from now also.
Wow.
So, it's going to be interesting.
I just heard that a friend of mine has to have kind of major surgery and is going to miss Rittenhouse, Madison, Cherry Creek, and Columbus.
Holy shit.
Can you imagine? Oh my God.
I'll
That's
be
just
crying.
painful.
They
I'll
need
be
to,
Just,
crying.
yeah, it's too
yeah.
bad they don't sell art show insurance like that for
Hi,
that.
Katie. I agree. 'Cause that's rough. Court, how you
But I
doing
just
with
I found out today that the craft show, the people that put the craft show, cancel the next 3 art shows. So I
that
don't know how that's going to work out.
to put on what show?
The people that do the Breathing House craft show,
Yeah.
they just canceled the next 3 shows.
Oh wow.
So because I was about to pay the booth fee this week for the Reading House Fall, and I couldn't pay it, and then I found out that they sent me an email today saying that they cancel the next 3 shows.
How
So
many shows do they run? I thought it was just 2.
4 total.
Oh. Now, doesn't Carol run one of them?
Yeah, Carol runs actually all 4 of them.
So I wonder if she's okay.
That's a good question. I just got a notification when I got out of the job. So when I get home, I would email her and ask her, text her, and ask her what
Good.
happened.
Yeah, see if she's okay.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a big hit to not have Rittenhouse fall.
Yeah. So thank God they yesterday applied to, and there's no guarantee I'm going to get in. I applied to Bethesda, which is really hard to get in the first place. So we see what happens now.
Bethesda Row,
Yeah.
that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that show. I did it a few times.
Well, that one and because I was planning to, I applied to Virginia Beach to do Philadelphia and then Virginia Beach and just stay the week out. But worst case, I would do Virginia Beach and just take the trailer to Florida and just hook it up in there and then go back up or something in that line. So
Don't you have to pay for the trailer spot year round so you can just take it down anytime, right?
yeah, but I cannot take it down until I want to take it down until the storm season is over. I don't want to, just in case we get a hurricane that goes to Florida and this time around go to Central Florida right over the camping ground and wipe out the entire camping ground.
Got it.
So,
Well, hopefully that won't happen.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but that's what I'm thinking. So I'm playing it safe.
Probably
So,
smart.
so other than that, I'm staying myself busy and see what happens. But I got a note invitation for Carmel, Indiana, and I'm going like it's kind of annoying because I asked them when there was in notification 3 times and then send it out.
You,
Like
you got an invitation? Is that what you
no,
said?
I got rejected.
Rejected you? Yikes. Sorry.
It happens. Instead of, it's one show that I like to do, but I don't get in for the last 4 years or something like that.
It's an easy one to do.
Yeah. So it is fine.
Good. Court, you're up.
I'm just
What's next? You've got Prairie Village.
got Prairie Village, waiting to hear from Plaza. Probably not going to do I was thinking about applying to 2 shows in Texas, but I think I'm going to pass on them.
Which ones?
One in Harvest Moon, which is in Granbury, Texas. Real small. I've done it a few times. I grew up there. And then there's a little show in Fort Worth that I don't know if it's the same. I did it one year. And it didn't draw a ton of people, and then it disappeared, and now it's back. So I don't know if it's the same people or a different group of people doing it.
You don't want to do the show that's where you grew up?
I haven't done it for a while. I was thinking about trying to do their back to back. I was thinking about trying to do both of them, but
Oh, that'd be great. It might
neither
be the
one of them have been
perfect.
great. But then again, I'm doing better this year. I think I'm going to start not applying. Well, some of the bigger shows I'll apply to every year, but some of these smaller shows I'm going to not apply to every year. I'm going to do every other year, every third year. I have better sales doing that.
Boy, that's fantastic.
And I don't know if I will, I don't know if I will try and stagger them and just do a few shows each year, or if I will try and stack them all and do like I did last year and only do one show and, do shows 1 year and take a year off, and do shows a year and take a year off.
Have you ever done Great Gulf Coast in Pensacola?
I've never done any Florida shows.
Well, I don't count that as a Florida show because it's in the Panhandle and it's nothing like Florida shows. That might
Yeah,
be
that's a little far for me to drive.
okay.
I mean, I may next year I may apply to a couple shows up in Oregon. The 2 shows up there. I don't know.
Yeah. You can back to back Pensacola and Covington, Louisiana, which is just north of the big place.
Louisville.
No.
No, Louisiana.
Yes.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Orleans.
Shit.
No.
Yes. Well, obviously I'm still having a little trouble with coming up with some words. But that's what we did is we went back to back with those. It worked out really well.
A lot of people do that, but funny. But I never done well in the Great Gulf, so I stopped flying to that show.
Oh, geez. I want to hear that everyone does well.
I
There.
know. It's like that's like Alabama crowd for me. So.
And you don't do well in Alabama?
Oh no, Alabama is like that's the worst experience I ever had in the show.
Hey.
That was Fur Hope. It's a shame
Ah.
because I really show to work out. So,
Well, that
Prairie Village
it-
will be interesting because I haven't done a show in Kansas City in several years, and I haven't done Prairie Village in several years, but I've never done well there. I'm not sure I've ever made money at that show.
oh, let this year be the exception.
Well, I've been kind of surprised. So I've had, I mean, not great shows. They weren't horrible, but I've, made a little bit of money at the, couple shows I've done so far. So I'm hoping that trend carries on.
Excellent. Hi, Ron.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing good. Larry's not really here. I mean, there's a
I like the
picture of
dog.
his-
That's
Yeah.
good.
The dog's cuter than Larry.
Yeah, very much so.
He's not
You know,
here, but we all are.
didn't Covington used to be a 9-day show, something like that, or really long?
Not that I know of. Just a
Hmm.
2-day. But I don't know.
Pretty much, if I can't drive it in one day, if it's outside about 12 hours drive, I won't. It's really got to be something special for me.
Yeah, and I think the fact that gas prices haven't continued to drop more just makes it so much more expensive to do the show that it's got to produce, and a lot of the shows just aren't producing much.
What are you finding, Ron?
I'm finding buyers of higher end work just aren't coming to the shows. The promoters don't seem to be able to reach them, like Lohmeyer this year. I've done Lohmeyer a lot of years, and most of the artists I know that did it were really disappointed, real dissatisfied. And it's crazy because it's in a city with two of the biggest art shows in the country, St. Louis and Belleville. And
Right.
they don't draw those people. In fact, Belleville was a sponsor of Lohmeyer, but they're not drawing those kinds of buyers that those two shows draw, which are high-end demographics, lots of money, like to buy fine art, fine craft, but they're not coming. And this year it was like going to Florida. It was like they emptied out the Starbucks and all these young people came by drinking their coffees and stuff, and they just walked by the booths and didn't engage the artist. And an hour or two later, you saw them walking back out with nothing in their hands. And if the show promoter just stood there and watched people walking out of the show, I think they'd see the same thing that we're seeing, which is this was new management this year, and they just didn't bring buyers to the show. Yet their post-show email said, "Oh, it was really great, really successful." And I've never seen such biased awards given out. It was just holy cow.
All local.
Well, 10 or 11 of the 21 awards went to Missouri artists.
Yeah.
And 2/3 of them were three-dimensional work that won awards. No photographer won an award. Only 3 jewelers won awards. Only 3 painters out of 25 won awards. 5 textile artists won awards. How's that for interesting?
That sounds like the
That's
year
a
I did it.
first.
And I did it once and decided I'd never go back because it, and I had somebody else tell me that it's a 3D show in a sculpture park.
Yeah, but not a single sculptor won an award. I thought that was kind of interesting for a sculpture park. I guess they didn't.
Is.
Yeah, and 4 graphic printmakers won awards. So it was just a lot of the categories that would normally win something won nothing, and the awards, the categories that had fewer artists than most categories, won lots. So it's just like, wow, it just didn't make any sense. But mostly, I think it. Go ahead.
The awards at times don't make any sense.
No, I almost
wonder-
wish that patrons would give them out, because worst case scenario is patrons going to give it to people they like to buy from, but they don't
Yeah.
make a lot of sense, do they? Sometimes.
Nope.
Nope. I almost wish they'd turn the money into advertising and just promote the heck out of the show.
I agree.
Yeah.
I won plenty of awards, but I would rather have them spend the money on advertising.
Right, because if we win an award,
Spend
and we don't have
everyone
good,
benefits.
yeah, because if an artist doesn't have good sales and they win an award, what's the likelihood they're going to come back anyway? So
Yeah.
what did that award do? Whereas if we go to the shows, most of us go to the shows to make sales. So if they could put that extra $25,000 into some really focused, well done advertising, it just seems like all the artists at the show would benefit, which would be
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
Yep. So Lohmeyer, I did it many times, really liked the show, but I wasn't sure whether Mother's Day weekend was the perfect weekend for it. I don't know. Being a jeweler, I probably benefited from it being Mother's Day weekend. It was
Last year,
never a
it's the
killer
weekend
show.
before. It's the weekend before, because Mother's Day was this last weekend, right? I think. Wasn't this last weekend
No.
Mother's Day?
No,
No, it was
Oh,
that
no.
weekend in Lamar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I remember because they used to do a special Mother's Day brunch at the show.
Mm.
You'd-
In court, your experience, how long ago did you do it?
oh, probably about 5 years ago. It
Okay.
was a very heavy 3D show, or the awards were, the awards went to primarily 3D artists, and I talked to several 3D artists, and not one of them had a bad show. And I talked to several 2D artists, and not very many of them had good shows. So I chalked it up as that, and I had talked to a couple people later, and they said, yeah, that's a 3D show. And I just, wrote it off my
Yeah.
list.
Hey, Barry,
Hi. How you doing,
about,
Bonnie?
talking about Lohmeyer.
Lohmeyer. Did it once. I think I did it twice.
What was your experience?
Well, it was so long ago that, if it's longer than 3 years ago, it's a totally different show. And I think it was about 30 years ago. So all I remember is it being wet and mucky. The ground was mucky.
Yeah.
That was
Yes,
my
it can-
impression.
It can be real nasty if it
Is it the
rains.
same? Is it still the same?
Yeah, and it's those outside, the outside booths are hellish to get out of if the grounds
Really?
get wet and mucky. And then even the inside booths, because there's so little storage behind the booths, most of the artists have to get their vehicles in with their storage containers to pack up to get out. But if the ground's wet, you got to dolly in your cartons to load your work to dolly out across the wet grounds.
I must have been on the high ground because I don't remember being blocked in. I remember there a lot of space around me.
Yeah, you must
I
have been
liked being
outside.
I liked being under the big tent.
I just remember we had a storm front roll through, and luckily there was no storm behind it, but we had a pretty good gust front come through. So we had really nasty winds for about 5 minutes. And I was holding on to my neighbor's my neighbor's Easy Up so it wouldn't go flying.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Don't you
remember
hate
one
that?
year. Yeah, because I remember one year I think we came in Sunday morning, and there'd been a real bad storm Saturday night, and there was a whole pile of the show staff had gone through and picked up all these booths that had blown and gotten destroyed. 15 of the 16 were Easy Ups. I wish they would have taken a picture and put it on the websites, because it just showed how fragile Easy Ups are to win.
They're not horrible, but you have to weight them, stake them. There's so many things that you can do to make that cheap pop-up better.
Yeah, the 1 gallon jugs of water on each leg. I love
Oh,
that one.
God.
Yeah, that's right. That's great.
Well, the
I got
problem,
my tent weighted.
the problem is,
Yeah, that exudes confidence.
the problem
You know-
is you can weight them, but if the wind's strong enough, the frame will stay there and you'll peel the outside off of it. Or
Yeah.
if you don't have the pool noodles and stuff, if it rains heavily, it'll just bring the thing straight down because the water won't
Right.
Yeah.
run off.
Yeah.
I
Plus,
agree.
I never understand it because they don't have awnings. So if you want to be open at all when it rains, you've got no ability to do so because you've got no awnings on your tent. You got to zip up. I don't know.
They,
You know, and I
they
think
used,
the worst thing we experience is that if somebody's easy up blows into ours, how are we going to feel about that? Not particularly good, I don't think.
Well,
Chances are,
I've
if they
had
have an
that
easy up, they don't have insurance.
Yeah,
I've
they're
had that
not gonna-
experience.
you have. Hmm.
Yeah.
Tell us. What the artist
Well,
say?
well, actually, no, not the last part, but the first part where something blew into my booth. Actually, the guy didn't have any walls. He just had the top, and he had these panels that had paintings inside the like window panes. So there'd be like, let's say, a window with 9 panes or 12 panes, and he'd have something in each one, and he sold it. But he had that leaning up against his bins. And while I was standing there talking to him, the thing blew up and hit my wall and knocked 4 pots over.
Ooh,
Um,
ooh.
I was just, this is not even a month ago, and I was I was just grateful that one, because it was ones on top. I was grateful that they didn't fall down on the ones on the underneath it, which I was actually wondering if that could actually happen. So I was kind of glad. Oh, okay, it just fell off and onto the ground. I charged him wholesale. I made him pay the wholesale price for the work.
Good.
And he tried to kind of blame it on me, which I let it go. But he said, "Yeah, I was always afraid that being next to some potter or some glass person, that was going to happen eventually." Duh.
Duh. Yeah.
It's my fault that they put me next to you, and I'm the potter.
At that point, I would have charged him double retail. Because he
Like your
knows
approach.
it's a problem. He knows
Yeah, it is.
he knows it's a problem.
Yep.
And he hasn't done anything about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was really old too. He was like way older than me, which is like,
Wow, that's old.
I
Oh
know,
my God,
I know,
that's ancient. Oh my
I
God.
know. So
I didn't
So,
know people could be that old.
no, there's always Nels.
Nels,
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Nels,
true.
I think, is the oldest one around now, and he's
he's
still
a fossil.
And
He's a
more
fossil.
power to him.
around. I know.
Boy.
No, I think Elaine is the oldest one. She's 81.
Who?
Who?
Elaine.
Elaine.
Elaine and Guido.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
I don't
her.
think she's older than Nels. Nels is pretty
Lynn
far.
Krause.
No, I think Nels is 70, high 70s.
Oh,
No,
that's nothing.
Elaine is 81.
Yeah,
Wow.
so she would
Well,
be older.
Lynn Krause, the painter, is over 80.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And oh, she is spry. Yeah.
I
She's
got a
very
question.
impressive.
Question for you, each of you guys. When you first wanted to become artists and start doing art shows, did you do any kind of homework, like going to art shows and seeing how tents held up, what kind of tents there were, what kind of panels there were, what kind of displays there were, how you set up a corner versus a regular booth?
No, because
Did-
back then I didn't have the information myself. I had to learn everything the hard way.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not like today. Today, there's not an excuse
Call
not
you
to have,
back.
not to have the information on how to get the right equipment. Other than you don't have the money, but the information is out everywhere. You can find it now. Before it was really hard.
There were no tents when I started.
I know. I was going to say the same thing.
I was one of the first to have a tent. And the only reason was because I was getting sunburned through my shirts, which was not good.
That's a good reason.
But yeah, my first canopy was a KD,
Yeah, Katie
and it came in 8x8. 10x10s
Oh, really?
were not even available. But
Wow.
before that, I built my own.
Yeah.
Really?
I built
Canopy.
my own too. The first one with Abstracta.
Oh, excellent. I used-
Oh no! Picture this: a whole 10x10 booth made of Abstracta.
Well, I use those Tricon connectors
Yeah,
So it's 1-inch aluminum tubing,
yeah.
and then they go into that ball and you tighten them down. I cannot believe how much time that took.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Took me forever to get it up and get it down. I never had a Katie canopy, because I went from that right to the guy that made the craft huts in
Florida. Yeah.
and I ordered one. I was on my way to Coconut Grove, and I ordered one, and I stopped there and picked it up on the way to the show. And I was the first one with a really solid canopy, a deluxe canopy. There wasn't a trim line yet. Katie, that was the only one.
Yeah, light domes were hadn't come out yet, had they?
None of them were available. Only the craft hut. So
Well, I had a light dome. I had one of the very first light domes, and I still have it. But then I went to a craft hut, which I think personally is the best canopy ever
me
invented.
too.
I would agree.
Heavy, but boy, it was good.
And he accessorized his tents to such a degree, and I think, like Barry, when I went one time in Florida, I went over there, and he said, "Oh, have you ever seen my store before, or my plant, whatever?" And I said, "No." And so he said, "You want a tour?" And he started taking me through there and showing me all these things that he built to accessorize the tents, to hold the panels up against the frame, et cetera, that he never advertised. And it was like, wow. And his Craft Hut Junior, I was like, wow, how big is that? And he goes, I'll make it any size you want. And it's just one thing after another. He was so creative.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and then he went out of business.
Well, he sold the Flourish. Yeah, guys. Well, I understand it's because his wife got cancer, and so he couldn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I didn't know that.
there was a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sold it, I think, the Flourish, with the understanding Flourish for at least a certain number of years would continue to make all the parts for the Craft Hut,
Right.
which they still do.
Yes.
The guys at Flourish are really nice. It's a real interesting place if you've ever been there.
Flourish.
Yeah.
I have not, but boy, they are just terrific to work with.
They are
What'd
out
you-
in the woods in Arkansas, in a town that's got basically a stop sign, and that's it.
Sweet.
Cool.
So they take you through and show you how they do everything. And
they farm some stuff out. Their sewing, I think they farm out to somebody else. Or I'm not sure about the sewing.
no,
But,
I think you're right, because when you order like an awning or something like that, they have somebody else make them for them.
They don't do any of the plating, but I think they do all the welding and stuff there. Because last time I ordered, or right after COVID, I ordered something, and he told me that, oh, we're trying to find a new plating company in what's the town? Where's University of Arkansas?
Little Rock.
Fayetteville.
I think Fayetteville. Because Little Rock's the capital. It's in the middle of the state. Fayetteville's up in the northwest corner, not just barely over the line from Arkansas or Oklahoma.
Yeah, what I've always liked about Flourish is if you want something custom made, they were like the guy from Craft Hut. Is you just tell them, talk with them about what you want, and they'll make it for you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I've had them do a couple custom things for me.
Yeah. What'd you have done?
I have awning fittings, single awning fittings, with the bottom nuts 90 degrees from where they normally are. And I have actually had him make 45-degree fittings so I could set up some stuff in Oklahoma City the first time I did it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that'd be great. I have dealt with them just for the stabilizing bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other things, but
I have stabilizing bars from there also.
boy, they work great.
And a
They've
replacement.
the other thing I like about them is they keep updating the designs. You know, to strengthen them and update the designs, and you know, but they keep, once you buy from them or you buy something they made, because I bought a used tent and they've asked me who I bought it from. And so they know exactly what tent I have, what legs it came with, what top
Yeah.
it came with, and all
That's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Like,
if you have-
well, if you're coming up, if you bought a light dome from Creative Energies, back at least in the early days, they were a pain in the ass. And that's putting it very nicely. I loved their product, but good Lord, they were terrible to work with.
Okay. How does the light dome stand up in bad weather?
Excellent. But that's with the stabilizer bars. I
Right.
went back to using it after I decided the craft hut was just too heavy, unless
Yeah.
it was like Ann Arbor or something where I
Yeah.
needed a long day. So I went back to using the light dome with the stabilizer bars. And, you know, it was jiggly because it was old, but it didn't go anywhere.
Hey, could I use my old stabilizer bars? The ones I got from Trimline
For what?
on those legs? If I bought a, you know, the same tent that you have?
Well, it depends if they're the same diameter.
You'd
Yeah.
have to get fittings for whatever diameter legs you have.
Right. Well, there are those tubes, those bars, you know, that I would take them off the legs and put them on the new legs.
No, but the horizontal bars, the stabilizer bars have to fit into something on the leg.
No, I know. But with the craft hut, well, they had these these ends that you slip over the poles, you know, the
Right,
the,
And that's,
the legs. Yeah.
That's just like the trim lines go together. There's a
Yeah.
fitting that slides over, and yeah,
Right.
but you have to, the light domes have aluminum legs and they have much bigger diameter legs.
Oh, really?
mine was the same as my craft hut, so I could use them.
Oh,
Use
well
the
then
same
that's the same
ones.
thing then. Okay, I could do it.
No, but I think my legs are smaller than what they're using now.
I
I'm
thought
still
all
using a
the-
craft hut.
I had
the-
one of the absolutely earliest light domes.
all the light domes I've seen with the aluminum legs have like 1.5 or 2 inch tubing, not the 1 inch.
Yeah, and I think mine was closer to 1 inch.
No, what you could do, Barry, is you could make something that would fit.
Well, you can just buy the ends,
Right.
Yeah.
That's what yeah.
buy that knuckle.
I'm saying I'm saying that Flourish probably has them. They
Yes.
probably understand the problem.
Yeah, because when you order it, they say, what kind of canopy do you want as far
Right.
as the stabilizer bars?
Yeah.
Well, even if you got one of those L-shaped awning connectors and you put it down upside down and then got the same diameter pole that you use for an awning to be your stabilizer bar, would that work?
I don't really get the thing that's made for it. Which I can get, I'm pretty sure. If I don't have it already, it's something I can get. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it because I'm for using my craft hut for as long as possible. My second one, it's my second one. I bought the second one used. So
It lasts
I had-
forever.
I had to replace the top. That was it.
I should replace the top. It's a
Oh,
different color. It's not white anymore.
It's turning
Yeah.
brown.
More like yellow.
I like it. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you need to replace the top.
They what?
You have to replace the top.
Yeah, I know when you go to Florida, sometimes they pick up sort of I don't want to say a bacteria or a virus, but they pick up something, I think, from the trees down there, and it'll
Yep.
grow and turn your roof. Not only turns your roof kind of brownish, reddish brown, but it makes it real brittle too, and it'll start to crack and split. Yeah, and then you have to get a new top. But the new material they're using for their tops and their sidewalls and everything is pretty nice. A lot more flexible. Nice.
Well, I gave my old craft hut to a friend and she's using it and is thrilled with it. So I'm just glad it has a nice long life.
There still is a secondary market for those craft huts.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I could afford to give it to her.
So how's everybody's experience been with the shows so far this year? Are you kind of normal or not normal? If not normal, what do you think might be going on?
It's
You
been-
can't, normal went out the window 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
What did?
There is no normal.
Okay.
Normal went out the window, 5 years before COVID.
Okay. So what are you experiencing this year? What are people experiencing?
Go on.
Okay, now don't everybody jump in all at once.
Yeah, I'm doing better than last year, but it's because the shows are going or really good or really bad. So basically it balanced itself out, but it's not being as fast and thin, but overall I'm doing better than last year.
And when you say real bad, are those shows that you've done before?
Yeah, for just give you an idea, or like a Coconut Grove, I make over $9,000. Then you do a show like a Bonita too, and you want to make $1,500. So it's been like the two extreme, or you do just what the hell I'm doing here, or you do really, really good. But it's been one of the two for me. I really do the average now.
You
Like
didn't.
it's one of the two.
You didn't make that much money. You
Gross.
sold that much.
Well,
There's
that's
a huge,
the gross.
He grossed.
Gross.
there's a huge difference. Well, people keep, and I'm not picking on you, Oscar.
So
Hey,
when I say how much money I make, I'm making gross. I'm assuming you understand that.
yes.
So,
Not if you have a business degree and understand the proper terms. That always drives me crazy when people say this is what
well,
I
if
make.
you go by net, then it would be probably $6,000 net. So it's not.
We don't
maybe.
need that.
That's okay. That's because you're not counting cost of materials and labor.
Yeah,
Well,
or
I
if you're
had
kind
already
of saying,
count that in
Profit.
there.
Yeah.
I already count that in there. Like
Yeah.
net is going to be about $6,000.
Actually, if we actually did it properly, none of us would be in business because we'd realize we're not making any money.
I couldn't agree
Well,
more. Trading dollars.
how your show's
I
been, Eric?
just I was
Um,
saying that it's been good so far this year. I don't think that it's been that bad. If you pay attention how you spend your money, or you know where the money's going to come, I can tell you that most of the people that I'm doing that are my close friends are doing really good, and I mean much better than me. So it's just being go there, do the best you can, and got a good attitude, and hope for the best, and balance itself out. I'm telling you, even Belleville, I was disappointed, and last week on Friday I got 2 orders. They make the show go from what the hell I'm doing here to okay. I hit my average for the year with the 2 sales
Good.
and gross sales, but
So-
it's not.
So given that the post-show sales saved you, would you go back next year and
No,
rely on? Okay.
no. That's not my market. I want to do that show. It's a good show. There's some people that did really, really good in that show. Don't get me wrong, but it's not my market. It's more like if Cord does it, he might do better than me. It's a traditional. If you have, I don't know if Josh is doing the show this weekend with us, but if you have metal prints with the frames, you will do ridiculous well in there. Then even if you need to have a traditional look, like everything needs to be framed, like you might do well then, Ron, in there. That's the kind of work that they're buying in there, not the metal prints with no frame. That's too. I did a
Too
couple of
contemporary
research
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I would not do, because I just did. I saw 230 by 45 and 116 by 24 at the show, which is not bad, but 3 days sitting in there for that to happen on Sunday is that. But that's just me, The guy next to me, and he did awesome, and I was really happy for him, But that's basically. It's a shame that you cannot talk to these things or be a little more open, because if you see the person moving, you see the style of work, and instead of me getting angry, envy with the person, it give you an idea. Okay, it's not my market. It's
Right.
not your. So that's why but you see people doing really well, and then you start getting bitter about it, instead of thinking, why that person is doing well and I'm not doing well. Just think what it is going on, and you move on. Bob Tanner Affairs, another show that is a lot cheaper meat for do, but people in there don't go and buy my work, so I just go to Fort Clinton and take a chance over there.
So
Even it
Ron,
costs more money.
you asked me a question, and
Yeah.
it's my answer is it's hard to tell, because like Florida, on the Gulf side, specifically Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, Naples, maybe even Tampa, although I didn't do Tampa. The hurricanes were so devastating that the insurance companies have been slow to pass out the money and have things
Okay.
repaired. So I think that had a lot to do with it. I don't know that.
Well, but I think that's correct assessment, though, because it takes time for those communities to recover all things.
Well, the last time it recovered in that period of time, and sales were really great, but maybe it was more devastating this time. Maybe the insurance companies are bigger assholes, which is always a possibility. Not giving the money, making it work to get your money.
That's right.
All that. So that's possible. And then, so then there was Fort Worth, and Fort Worth had one of the best selling days rained out. So up until that point, it was going to be really great. So it's hard to tell. If you actually ask me, I think there's a slight downturn off of the post-COVID highs, but I'm not really willing to say that yet. Let's see what happens in the next few months.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
I've had to raise my prices, because I wanted to, but because the cost of everything's more money. So
yeah,
I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because I didn't raise them that much. But people that buy clay are cheap, so they're not spending the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 that you do for a wall piece. So,
is all your work functional, or is a lot of it non-functional?
None of it's functional. It's visually functional.
Okay.
I always think about that, but that's a lot of work. That's a lot of bugs,
It is, and then it's a different jury process too. Do you mix functional with non-functional work?
I did that in my booth once in Florida for the whole season, and that was a disaster. I had functional pots and I had raku, and where's the raku?
I just don't see you as a functional potter.
but I'm really good at it. I get, I keep threatening to make stuff pass out to friends.
I think that's
Bonnie,
a
I'll
good
put you on the
idea.
list. You drink
Thank
coffee?
you.
You drink
You
coffee?
bet.
Okay.
You bet.
What about you, Court? What have you been seeing this year?
I watched Oklahoma City, the crowd change from one day to the next,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of the shows I have done. People aren't buying, they're buying wall decor, they're not buying art.
Okay.
And
What about-
that's more a function of the shows not being my audience than it is anything else.
Do you think it's that the community's not your audience, or that the way that the show's promoted, they're just not drawing in your kind of buyers?
Both.
Both.
I always thought that Oklahoma City was a 2-day, 6-day show.
Yeah.
Actually, really, I was going to say a 1-day. It's like a 1-day show that's up there for 6 days, and you don't quite know which is the day that the sales are going to be good. And sometimes it's 2 days, but it's never been 6 days of selling for me.
Court,
like
you fought rain this year, didn't you? At
Yeah,
Oklahoma City?
for the 6 days. The first 4 days it rained.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Sorry.
as soon as Saturday was wall to wall, wall to wall people. Sunday was a lot of not as many people on Sunday, but the buyers came out on Saturday. The looky-loos came out on Sunday.
So overall, was it worth it for you? Would you go back?
No, I won't go back. No, not for, if it was a 2-day show, yeah, I'd go back. A week-long show, no, not anywhere near enough.
Yeah,
Get so
you can't look-
bored
Oh no, it's fun.
at the
Is it-
long shows.
Well, because you have to have good neighbors that you can have fun with.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of downtime, so you're like, fooling around and talking and
Well,
making jokes.
As a jeweler, I can't wander away from my booth.
Then they
because-
come to you.
When was the last time you came to see me at a show? Well, I haven't been at a show for a while, but still.
That's right.
The
I
neighbor
think
that-
at your last show, I think I did come by.
Okay.
The neighbor that I had in the next tent that faced me was a jeweler. I watched his booth several times for him.
Thank you.
He'd come over and say, I gotta go, do this, that, or the other. And I said, okay. And I sit there in my booth, watch his. No problem.
Appreciate that, Court.
Yeah. The worst at Oklahoma City is when it's cold and rainy.
And it was that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard this story because there's the artist lounge, but they don't like you to sit. They don't let you sit they try and not let you sit in the artist lounge when there's nobody at the show, and you can see out the window the whole show, and that there's nobody there. I got into a few fights about that because I was not going to my booth. It was too cold.
I think at some point during the show, somebody came by and just basically was coming by to see if I was there and open.
Yeah, they do that. Who needs
Did you guys
that?
did you guys do the show when it used to be at the other location before they moved to this?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Did you, Court?
Now, this is only my second time doing it, and it's like, I should have learned when they let all the buy-sell in, and then, when I walked around this year, and I talked to somebody that was on the jury, and, it's, I won't be going back. I'll go do Paseo if I can get in.
See, it's been a few years, but when I was a juror for that show, the quality was spectacular. And there was no buy-sell that I remember.
Well, it was a good show one time.
Yeah.
I did it the next year. I did it, and then I didn't get in the next year because I didn't do enough sales. And I applied and I didn't get in. And so I went down because it's only a couple hours away. So Linda and I went down to see a bunch of people. And Yardbirds was there. And I came home the next day. I called the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, tried to explain to whoever was answering the phone what was going on, and nothing ever happened. They left them there that year and the next year and the next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
And
reminds me.
there were people there this year that I'm pretty sure were buy sell. You know, so it just doesn't, it really turned me off of the show for a while. And then, and again, I don't know why I applied this year, but it was all local artists. The quality was totally different.
That's a shame.
This is what's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City. The big
Yeah,
show
I mean-
down.
What other shows have you done? I know, but I can't remember.
Oh, I did it in Mayfest. That's the only two I've done so far. Mayfest changed management this year. The lady that's been running the art show for 32 years is leaving because they won't listen to her. And they did some stuff that, quite frankly, was stupid and dangerous.
Of course.
And because they're all because they're all work for a university and probably have degrees out their ass, you know, they know better than anybody else.
Well, it isn't exactly that. It's that they're insulated in their university setting, so they have no practical real world experience. The art instructors at NMU, Northern Michigan University here, are clueless about selling. And they would, like, somebody would have something for sale and he should be selling it for 5 times what he's selling it for. He had no clue. He had absolutely no clue as to how to sell it. And plus his market, he never showed it anywhere where he could sell it. And that was so typical of all those guys. They have no idea what the real world is like. You know, they're just insulated in their university. And so this is what you're going to get.
A bunch of the people that I know at Mayfest, I'd say probably 20 to 25% of the artists that I talked to came in last minute off the wait list.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I know somebody at Oklahoma City. I ran into him at a few shows ago, and they were they'd been called off, and they weren't even on the wait list. They were rejected, and then they were called into the show. And I'm like, wow.
No, that's happened before.
Wow.
you know, when you go to a show and you talk to artists, you go, what's your next show? And their next show is a little tiny semi-regional show instead of, you know, because Brookside was the next weekend, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't talk to anybody that was going to Brookside. They were all doing this little local show in, you know, Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that's a
Why the
problem.
hell would you do a week-long show in Oklahoma City and then turn around the very next weekend and do another show in the same town, in the same
Because
city?
that shows you the
area.
level that they're at and who they let into Oklahoma City. It's not that they were really good and they decided to do the little show. It's that they were really bad and they only do the shows there. And the only reason why they did Oklahoma City is because it was because they lived right there or near there, and they needed to let people in, so they let those people in.
You know, I did Mayfest, and the lady next to me at Mayfest was not a bad painter. She did oil painting. She wasn't a bad painter, but I had a painter on the other side of me that did kind of a combination of painting and illustration. And, you know, the lady that did the more traditional oil painting that was next to me was selling stuff for probably half or a third of what she should have been. And I kind of casually mentioned it to her. And she said, oh, I just want to sell stuff cheap so everybody can afford it.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
It's like,
it hurts all of us.
Yes, it does.
Then by the show ended at 6, she literally started tearing down at 5. She was taking her tent down between 5 and 6 o'clock.
Yep.
I try and avoid those shows. You know,
Well,
those are,
unfortunately, you don't necessarily find out until you're already there.
well, sorta.
Now at Mayfest, I didn't have I had one of the better Mayfests I've ever done. I mean, I've never had spectacular shows there. I had one of the better Mayfests I've ever done. John and Pat said, you know, they made enough money. They got to seriously look at going back because it was that good of a show for them.
Wow.
There were people there that made money. You know,
I wonder if will be sustaining though. Did well this year and then they go back next year and the same magic is gone because they blew their wad with the few customers that they had.
You'll never
You
know
know-
if you don't go back.
That's right.
yeah, for me, Tulsa's going to be a show. Tulsa's kind of like the local show I do here. If I do it every 3 years or so, I do okay. You know, if I do it every year, you know, it's up and down and all around. So, you know, I'm just going to start plugging this stuff into a 2 or 3 year cycle.
Oh,
Hey, Ron,
Yeah.
can you cover your microphone if you're not talking? We're getting
Oh.
all kinds of feedback.
Yeah, I'm in a Panera Bread, so probably don't have a microphone. So what
Oh,
yeah.
okay, then never
I'll turn,
mind.
I'll turn my volume down. Just see if does that help a little bit?
Anybody
Oh,
else?
so Ron, that was your noise?
No,
Yeah.
it's people talking around me and stuff. The
That's what I meant.
radio playing. Yeah, it's my speaker. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, Ron, now we're going to ask you the same question
Oh my God.
about
I'm outta here.
shows.
You're breaking up. I can't hear you. What? My experience has been the shows have been really down this year, and to me, and if it was just me, then I would say, yeah, it's just me. But a lot of the shows, some of the shows I've done lots of years, and I'm just not seeing buyers come out and spending the higher end buyers coming out at all. It seems like it's mostly the low end crowd, financially, just aren't spending a lot of money. And when I talk to some of the other artists I know at the shows, they're having the same experience, or like Lohmeyer, or St. Charles, the jeweler that I was next to, and his wife was a painter next to him. Saturday was kind of okay, and Sunday it's just like you're sitting there going like, what happened? What changed? Where are the people? And they just didn't come to buy anything. And it's just kind of hard. Like I think so far this year, I did 4 shows down south, and then I did Memphis, Art in the Loop, and he's trying, but it's just not working. He's not promoting it correctly. And then I went and did Stillwater the weekend before Oklahoma City, and then I went over to Huntsville, Panoply, and then down to Ridgeland, Mississippi. And oh my God, stay away from Ridgeland, Mississippi.
Oh,
Oh my God.
been there, done that.
Yeah, smallest crowd I've probably ever seen at an art show. It was just
how was Stillwater?
Stillwater was sort of okay, but the people that told me it was my first year, and people told me that it was downtown, previous years told me it was downtown and there were all these events going on and it drew lots of people. But Stillwater moved to that art center, and it's actually mostly for children, art center,
Right.
which doesn't draw a whole lot of adults if they don't have kids. And the crowd just didn't materialize much. So
I know the couple times I did it,
Mhm.
I had several people tell me that the merchants downtown don't like it,
Ah,
don't
okay.
want it, because they thought it interfered with their business.
Well, they were successful in moving it.
So
But
it's been moved around several
Has it?
times. Now,
Oh.
when I did it, the city Parks and Rec put it on, and I actually won best of show there last time I did it.
Sweet.
It changed. Another group took over doing it. The next year, I didn't hear from them about, oh, you're automatically juried in, blah, blah, blah. I didn't hear anything from them.
And when Parks and Rec ran it, was it downtown?
It was a block off of downtown. It was in front of the post office.
Okay. Good location?
You know, it wasn't a bad location. The last year I did it, it rained all night, all day Sunday, and they ended up closing the show, but I didn't get the email. You know, we had to semi tear down in the rain. 3/4 of the artists, because, you know, a lot of the artists were going to Oklahoma City, and, you know, a lot of them left. They just flat out left Saturday. They tore down Saturday and left.
Well, that must be why they shortened the days to Friday and Saturday for the show now, Stillwater.
So, you know, when I did it was Saturday, it was Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, it's Friday, Saturday now. So, you know, there just weren't in fact, actually I saw the first sort of tragic or accident that I ever seen at an art show where Friday morning there was this really loud, right before the show opened, there was this really loud squealing of tires and then this crash noise. And I don't think any of us understand exactly what happened, but this car drove into a booth past the barrier and crushed part of the booth and a lot of the artwork. Fortunately, nobody got hurt.
Where was this?
This was at Stillwater.
Really?
It was just the weirdest thing because you heard those tires squeal and you just knew something was weird. And then that crashing noise, and everybody ran over, and it's just weird. And Panoply moved to a new location or partial new location. And I did Panoply for a lot of years when it was downtown. It was constantly changing location. And now they've moved some of it away from off the bridge and over into a part of the park they never were in before. But there were two people from the staff standing, talking to me at the end of the show on Sunday. And I said, so now that the construction is going to be finishing up, is the show going to move back to where it was? One of them said yes, and one of them said no. So how are we supposed to interpret that they know what they're doing? They can't even both answer the same. And then what was the other one? Yeah, originally that was pretty much it. And then I did Lohmeyer and Springfield and St. Charles back to back to back.
Was that
And,
Old Capitol?
yeah, Springfield Capitol, and for all of its glory days, they're struggling. They are the same problem. That you just sit in your booth and watch people walk by all weekend long, and almost none of them were carrying any packages. And that was strange for Springfield. You know, and the show staff wasn't there much during setup, and there were problems during setup, and so everybody's running around. Okay, who's going to solve this problem? Nobody was there to solve the problems.
You'll think of me.
Okay, whoever just came on, mute yourself, please.
All the rules and just.
I had probably one of the worst things ever happen at Mayfest
Really?
on Sunday morning.
Let's not make a big
And
deal.
it just, you know, it freaked me out to the point where I haven't said anything about it. I'm going to the show, getting there early, and the show's very close to one of the freeways. And I'm coming into the downtown area, and there's where you get off the freeway curves, and it's right before a big interchange. And so as soon as I could see, there were cop cars everywhere, and they had the interstate closed. And so I got off, and I'm going, okay, there's an accident. Because, I mean, you could see the lights from a mile back. And I get closer, and I see a fire truck, but I see no accident. I see no nothing. I'm going, okay, so it's on around the curve where I can't see. I get off. I get down to the bottom of the ramp, and I look over to my left, back up towards the interstate, and there's a lady standing on the edge of the bridge over the street below, ready to jump.
Oh, geez.
And so the way it's laid out, you have to go straight. And so I had to turn and go around because it's a bunch of one-way streets. I had to turn and go around and come back. And when I had to turn right and go away from the show and then go over and go like half a block and turn left to come back down to the show. And again, when I got back down to the show, you look over and, there she is standing on the it's a concrete bridge railing and she's standing on the railing. And, it just freaked me out.
She didn't want to jump.
The fire department finally came in with a ladder from below and got her down.
Good.
She didn't want to jump. If she did, she would have jumped already.
Well, I talked to a couple of artists that got there before me, and they said, oh yeah, we saw her. She was walking down the middle of the freeway.
Oh,
Great.
that's
With
so
clothes on?
sad.
So, I went over and I walked over to, from where I walked a block over to a street that could see, and there was a police officer sitting there, and I asked what happened, and it's a woman officer, and she said, well, she'd been talking, there was another officer there, and she'd been talking to the other officer, and they're talking about not having an airbag for jumpers. And, she said, we need an airbag, and we set the airbag up and then just tase them and let them fall. And she looked at me and says, I know that sounds really harsh. I said, no, it saves their life, So, yeah, she was kind of embarrassed about it. And I said, ma'am, I used to be an EMT. I understand, there's things you have to do that aren't pretty to save somebody's life. And I agree with you, So, but yeah, it just, I kept, I went, set up, I'd do a little bit, then I'd walk back over and talk to the cop. Then I'd leave and I'd go back and talk to the cop again. About the third trip over, they told me they finally got her down. The fire department came in from below with one of their ladder trucks and got her down. So
Good.
yeah, that was something I don't want to ever see again.
Understandable.
Yeah, not a good way, not how you want to start your last day of an art show.
Oh, good. No.
That's right.
So,
On a positive note, right?
yeah, positive note, somebody that bought a large matted print, I have been getting emails from because they only bought one and wanted two, and now they want to buy another one. So
Excellent.
Sweet. So what do you have coming up then?
I just have one show for sure coming up next weekend.
How about you, Ron?
And what about? Oh, I have 57th Street. Then I've got.
Good.
Then I do Worthington on the north side of Columbus, Ohio, and then I do Quincy, Illinois, and then I go back to Bundles, see how that's going to play out. And then I go to
Just a minute. I missed that one. Back to what?
Boston Mills.
Which
And
weekend?
the second one, the July. You gonna be
Oh, no, but that was the weekend I always did. I did it for 25, 30 years. I loved that show.
there? I do too. I hope they recovered the ambiance of Boston Mills, because I remember those patrons that came out on that opening night, they would buy more so
Yes.
than any show I've ever been at. It was just great.
It's the
Where-
only show that I could consistently sell during the opening.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Ron, what year was the last year you did it?
2018, I think,
Yeah.
because they didn't have it 20 or 21, and then they sold it, and I don't think it's been open since 2019. I think was the last year they had it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then it went into that realm of being sold and somebody buying it, and so I think this is
Ski
the first-
Resort was sold.
Yeah, Ski Resort was sold, and I'm trying to remember the director's name. It looks familiar.
George Whitten.
Yeah. What did he do before?
Potter.
Clay.
Potter?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So you doing it, Barry? Either of them?
No chance.
No chance? No good memories?
Hey, I have great memories. Listen, when the Ludwigs owned the ski resort and Don Getz ran the show, it was a great show. Then this
Yep.
other guy, then this
On
Yeah.
Beam.
Ron Beam, he wasn't my favorite. He actually didn't like me for some reason. I'd give you my cynical reason, but I'm not going to.
I remember
And,
he combined, there was no, most of the two-dimensional categories didn't exist. There was like mixed, what was it, mixed media or something like that. And they lumped everything into painting and photography and everything into,
No,
or two, they put it into some category. They weren't separate categories.
does,
yes, they were. I juried the show a lot of times.
No, but they were never listed under a category of photography. That's when I got in the award, I won an award. the
Ron
first year.
hated photographers,
Yeah, he did, I think. So,
and he was not shy about saying it.
no. So then after that, then I do, and our Central Pennsylvania, and then Ann Arbor, and then Orchard Lake.
ooh,
Jeez,
4
You're
and
a
4.
glutton.
I know, I'm a punishment, but given, I'd have thought Springfield, Little Capital, and St. Charles would have been better, and they weren't. So it's like, wow,
Yep.
I'm glad I don't have a lot of open spots on my schedule, because that would be painful.
Where are you in Ann Arbor?
I just got the paperwork. I'm not really sure. I'm in the Guild show, but I'm not sure where my booth is.
Do you know what
Since I've
street?
never done the Guild. Pardon?
The street that you're on.
Don't know offhand. I can check and see on the paperwork.
You'll like doing the show with the guild.
Do it when you
think I
do it
will.
right now.
Lots of
Can you
rules.
do it while we're
Yeah.
talking?
Yeah. Yeah, when I used to do the one with that crazy lady, holy cow.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. She was out of control.
Crazy lady.
Well, with the guild, you'll get lots of rules that are enforced, but they're
Sort of.
good rules. You know, they're very strict on how they do
Really?
some of their things. And
Uh-huh.
I was always so grateful because it made life so much easier.
Yeah, I'm
There are
all
rules?
for strictness on the rules. I really am.
There are rules.
Yeah.
I don't remember any rules from.
All right,
I'm on
folks, I
Main
gotta
Street.
run.
Pardon?
See you later.
Am I gonna see you
Did you-
later, Bonnie?
Yep.
Bonnie, did you find a
Oscar?
booth? You
See
take
you
it off?
later.
Court, be well and do well. Okay, and I'm trying to find this.
Yeah, see you later, Kurt.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You going, Oscar?
Nope, I'm staying on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see.
I'm asking you for a reason.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because I just saw it this morning when I was in Panera here. Let's see.
All on pins and needles here.
Well,
Well, keep talking so I don't feel so.
Well, I got
self-conscious.
see on Main Street. I've been trying to get the street to be upgraded with better artists. So I got Oscar. He's 2 booths down from me now, so that's fun.
Good.
And we have Kristen Perkins and Jim Parker and a bunch of other people, Chris Ballou, a bunch of other people that are on our street that are really good.
Well,
Oh, my
Parker
booth-
used to be on State Street because he helped foster my love of glasses. He had
Yeah.
a really cool pair of glasses one year. And so I
Huge
tried
big
them
guy.
on and it was like, oh, I have to get some like this.
I'm on Main Street, booth 363.
Oh, you're welcome to the club. You're like 2 streets down from.
Sweet.
You're in that
I'm
300
honored.
block.
I'm honored.
Main Street, that's a good woohoo.
Ooh, see, I had no
Well,
idea.
Okay,
So-
I'm gonna tell you. You might be
Good,
some
tell me.
near some people that you're going, what the fuck is this doing here? Because there's some real crap there, but they get grandfathered in, and it's my goal to get rid of them all.
Good, I'll
and
help
I'm-
you.
And I'm kind of vocal about that. So to
I don't
increase,
think they grandfather
what's that?
like they used to.
Well, it's not exactly like that, but it is, you know. When they get rid of
think you're-
some of the people that are on our block you know, then I'll say, yes, they finally got rid of those people, but
Okay,
What street are you
don't
on?
take this for certain, but
Okay.
I think they're in for 3 years or something. And then,
yeah, there's a
That goes-
re-jury. It isn't,
yeah,
it
because
isn't
I
a jury.
juried this year.
Yeah,
So
it
there-
isn't, I don't think it's a jury. It's much like you pick a
Standards
standard.
review.
Yeah, standards review.
Yeah.
So it isn't about getting in the show or not. You kind of get invited back.
So for,
I think.
once you're in for, then you're in for 3 years before you have to go through the full.
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
Not
right,
necessarily.
exactly. Not necessarily.
Not is it?
I forgot how it works because I don't know, I get invited back every year. Or maybe, oh no, you know what it is? Yeah, no, it is. It is for 3 years because they send you a contract and you sign it or you don't sign it.
Well, I'll ask tomorrow. I'm on a jury for them tomorrow.
Yeah, don't ask me.
So it's kind of like 57th Street this weekend. I believe they do that. And I think Springfield.
for
Apple
3
used to do
years.
that. Yeah, till your category comes up again, right?
Yeah, next year we have to review it
Oh,
for sure.
man.
Like that.
Well,
I don't
is
like
kinda-
it if I'm not in the show, but
well, it's
if I'm
kinda nice
in the
'cause
show,
it'll-
I like it.
Yeah, because it allows you to try to build an audience with your
That's
work,
right.
which is important.
And plan your schedule.
Yeah, you can
No,
ink it in.
okay, I
Yeah.
can depend on this one and this one,
Yeah, and if it's
and
not our
work
audience,
everything around.
if it's not our audience, we'll walk away from it. And if it is our audience, we'd love to come back and grow our base there. Right?
Yep.
Hey, that's how Ann Arbor is for me. A lot of it's repeat business.
That's great. That's important.
Mine
isn't it?
was
What it is.
huge with repeat business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the best of the business model for artists, right? You get to go
Yes.
back. And build it. Yeah,
So Ron,
yeah.
actually, Main Street probably has the worst artwork in the show.
Okay,
Those
so
four
I'll fit in
blocks.
real well then, right?
No. Well, probably, but no, but I wouldn't say, I'm not going to say that publicly. But anyway, no, listen. But all the restaurants are over there, and for some reason the bus stops there. We get the most traffic, so you know, everybody who's good that's over there does pretty well.
Okay.
Unless it rains, and there'll always be one day where the weather will be bad, or it'll be a couple hours. It's traditional in Ann Arbor, or it's so hot that like you can fry eggs on the ground. Now, the last couple of years it hasn't been like that, but the 1 year I did State College and then Ann Arbor, so it's 4 days and then a couple days and then 4 days.
Yeah.
And I think the coolest it was the first day of State College. I think it was 95 degrees and steadily got hotter. And Ann Arbor was in the hundreds for 4 straight days. And it was so bad that the restaurants were passing out water.
Yeah,
The
and I
people.
remember on the news, they said that there was a
Yeah.
heat advisory for 114, and they were telling people, don't come out.
Telling
of your
people to
house."
stay home, which,
Yeah,
you know,
that was hard.
wasn't, but we didn't stay. We had to be there. It was tough.
well,
I
cool. I look forward to
love
meeting you guys in person.
I love Ann Arbor.
Yeah. So how do you, since you guys have been doing it for a long time, how do you feel about it being shortened to a 3-day show? Because I kind of liked it.
Yay!
What about you, Barry?
Either or. I didn't care. It didn't matter whether it was.
There's
4 days or
always
3 days.
one lost day in Ann Arbor
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
See, here's okay. My problems with Ann Arbor are almost related, but not exactly. I wanted to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, not Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And
It's the
but you-
churches.
no,
It's a what?
the businesses. The show is about the businesses, the retail businesses selling their old stuff. That's what Ann Arbor's about. Don't let anybody tell you any different. I ran a store over there. I'm telling you, we did more in 4 days than we did during the Christmas season. And we got rid of all our old stuff from all the shows. And that's what you do. That's what they do. They put their stuff out on the street or like, behind. And they make a killing, but the whole time they complain about us being there. We don't
Yeah.
want you.
And I,
But they
I remember,
need that stuff. Without that, it's a real big economic plus for the town. So when they say that they don't want you there, that's because they don't know what they're talking
they
about.
want the money. Yeah. Because I
We had
remember
a-
when I started doing art shows in the early 2000s, for probably the first 10, 12 years, that when I do shows elsewhere in the country, in the Midwest, and I asked them, what other shows do you go to? Almost everybody would say they went to Ann Arbor. And they'd say they go, and women would say, oh, I go with my girlfriends. We go up there for 3 or 4 days. And that's a lot of money going into Ann Arbor, hotels, restaurants, and then
Yeah,
they go to
exactly.
shop for
Yep.
the art. And that, I've never heard that about any other show except probably in the Chicago area. Old Town, people would say that about Old Town.
I don't know if it's
It
not
was-
so much anymore that people come from take bus. In Cleveland, they used to take a bus, 50, 60 people.
Well, it used to be funny because people would ask me if I was doing Ann Arbor, and it was like that was my seal of approval.
That's right.
Wow.
If I
That's
did Ann
exactly-
Arbor, yep, then
Yep.
I must be good.
That's right. But that was 30 years ago.
Well, I'm
40 years ago.
no,
No, really. You arrived like, north suburbs of Detroit. When you told people you did Ann Arbor, that
Yes.
that meant that you were really good.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I must have felt pretty good to see their expression when they said, yeah, I'll be there. And they were like, whoa.
Yeah, you kind of feel like, oh, I'm cool.
Well,
Well,
you
of
guys
course
are.
Of course I belong there.
Yeah. Well, this has been a pleasure, and thanks for all you guys' input and ideas and stuff. And I sure hope the art show world can continue to find a good path going out. There's
It
a
will.
lot of good examples for them to go off of, and I just hope they use those examples and try to get better every year. Because
Ron,
Hey, Ron,
the
pay
guild.
for the parking.
I will.
Yes,
I will.
pay for the parking.
Yeah,
It
I'm gonna-
used to be cheaper that if you drove there and you got a parking space, it was cheaper because you have to pay for 5 days or whatever. So I always cut off a day, but all the parking lots are now metered and it's a time thing. So it isn't an all day, you can park there all day for one price. So it could be expensive. So pay for the parking.
Okay, and do you get a choice on the maps? Do they give you a map that you can choose kind of where you?
I believe they do.
I don't know. I never paid for the parking, but I'm going to do it this year because I got screwed last year.
Okay. Yeah, last couple of times I've been up there, I did it. Well, once they had set aside a spot and it said it'll cost you this much to park, and it was right off the show, and it was absolutely perfect. So yeah, I'll take a look at that. In fact, probably tomorrow I'll try to see if I can get on there and get
Yeah,
it. So thanks
do
for the
that.
tip on that.
Because
I
you're
will.
guaranteed a spot there. So
Well, it's
Sweet.
easier.
then you don't have to, yeah, it's so much easier.
It's easier.
But-
You just go to your parking space. You don't have to drive around looking for a place to park.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Ron, have you
guys-
done a guild show before?
No, this is my first time. I did
Okay.
State Street twice, and and South University it was the first, I think, 3 years I did it, and then I did State Street twice. So this is my first time in the guild.
This is nothing like State Street. Okay.
Yay.
But
Great.
what I was going to tell you is they are now going to put on my show, the Garage Sale Art Fair.
Oh, okay.
I've handed it over to the guild. That's how highly I think of them.
Excellent. And when is that garage sale?
In February, last Saturday in February, every year.
I'll try to get up there, and I have lots of stuff I could sell at it.
Oh, then apply. My goodness, it's
I
the,
will. Mostly it's just
Yeah.
getting up there in the winter months.
well, we had one person who was coming from California and
Get out of here.
she was taking the train and they got sidetracked in Albuquerque due to snow or something. But she still made it on time to set up her booth. And
That sounds weird. Sidetracked by
know.
snow in Albuquerque. Wow.
yeah. Well, I think it was probably somewhere, the snow was someplace else. But
No, I
they
think
held
it was-
them in
There might have been
Albuquerque.
when that big, I think, and Katie probably knows this too, is where they had a lot of snow in Southern California and Arizona and New Mexico, didn't they, this year? Some big snowstorms.
It's melting now, which is causing flooding plus unstable ground.
But they did have
Great.
some big snows, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
One ski resort, the snow was up to the roof rafters or whatever. So they couldn't actually open the ski resort because of it.
Wow.
They can't
Oh.
open because there's not enough snow unless they bring in blowers and manufacture it.
Now, Ron, where are you?
I'm on Main Street.
Oh, no,
Booth,
no. Where
oh.
do you live?
Bloomington, Indiana.
Oh, that's nothing. Come
Well-
up from Bloomington?
I tried to come up to Toledo this year, and unfortunately, I made the mistake of trusting the weather forecast because I went on to 10 different stations, and looked at the forecast, and every one of them was saying 1 to 6 inches. Most were saying 3 to 5 inches of snow all around Toledo. And so I thought, wow, and then it was indoors, and you're supposed to be able to drive indoors to the convention center to set up. And I thought, well, they hadn't, when I called the show staff, they said, well, we're not sure what we're going to do about all that and snow on the vehicles and stuff. So I decided, and they had half an inch of snow. I could have made it no problem.
Oh,
So, and
yeah.
that was early February for Toledo.
Well, we had huge snowstorm and electricity was out in the entire area except for where we were. But everything west of the
Not
show
exactly.
was without electricity. And yeah,
Including people's hotel rooms. that couldn't
Really?
stay.
yes.
And then if you didn't get a room right away because you thought like me, well, I can get a room anytime. There weren't any rooms because people that lived there stayed in the rooms, and
Yep.
so then there was a gazillion people staying and sleeping on the floor. It was weird.
We lost you, Barry.
Yeah, we lost.
Really?
Yeah. You said
drift-
1 million people sleeping on the floors and then we lost you.
I think I stopped talking.
Your lips were moving.
Okay. I don't know. I don't remember what I said, but yeah, you got the idea.
Well, that would be harsh. Not have heat in your hotel room, no lights, no nothing. Wow.
Something like that.
The next day at the show, I mean, where we were, they never lost their electric.
Yeah.
Did people come
But-
out?
Yes.
Wow.
But we got a lot of messages, which I didn't see until after, saying, are you open? And I put it everywhere I could think of. Yes, we're open. Come
Open.
get warm. Come buy some art.
Yeah, no, that'd be great because I used to do the ODC Winter Fair show there in Columbus when it was down at the Veterans Memorial Building. And that was,
Yep.
of all the events I've ever done of any kind, art shows in the country, it was probably the most special, most touching event I ever did because people would come out in end of January, it could be freezing cold. They'd paste their faces up against the glass windows to see who was inside. And you'd see them pointing over there, and they come in as soon as the doors open, and they come over to your booth and go, I want that and that. Can you hold it? I need to go over here and get some stuff. Ceramic artists would sell out everything they brought. And,
Yeah.
it was just absolutely magic that people would just come and buy everything you had. It's great.
Clay is killer at the show.
Oh God, yeah, I would think so.
Well,
No.
other than Barry.
Well, you had to be, it was, okay. I'm glad you said something, Bonnie, because I was going to hold back. It was strictly a bottom feeder show. really cheap, really inexpensive stuff. And I wasn't willing to give my stuff away at that price. So when she said, when Bonnie says ceramic people killed it, we're talking about functional pots, mugs and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because Bruce Johnson didn't do so great either. And that's kind of who I talked to. I don't know about anybody else, but I do know that the functional people sold it.
Well, a friend of mine there, who we do talk numbers, she's higher end. She's not clay. And she was over 9,000.
Jewelry?
Yes.
Yeah,
Then
the
there was-
garage sale. Wow.
And there's the, oh, no. I take that back. That number is for a wood guy. And there was another wood guy that didn't do as well this year, but
Stevie Red?
no, there was a guy that does cutting boards.
You-
Oh, God.
And he was at like 8,500 last year, or the last time we had the show. He was
Wow.
just crazy.
That's
I
not my crowd.
personally could not sell anywhere near that. There are people that sold $400, but there are expensive things do sell. But you have to be the right thing. I was
Well-
never the right thing.
In the
Personally.
past, I would always sell nicer stuff. I always sold the nicer things. And I did sell them like at half price, but half price could be $300,
Excuse
but
me.
not this time.
Well, I look forward to seeing your work, both you guys this year, because I don't think I've ever seen your work in person. Look forward to it.
Who are you talking to?
You.
You.
You were across from me at the Kraslow one year.
I've never been in Krasl. No, it wasn't me.
Okay, it wasn't.
Ron,
Never
don't
mind.
worry. You're not going to miss anything with Barry. It's not that great.
And listen,
Okay, my friend Oscar says.
and with Oscar, it's just a bunch of pebbles. It's like a bunch of lilies in a water. Like, who would buy that?
Oh, whatever. Hey, Ron,
Yeah.
do you see how many photographers are next to you this weekend?
Are you next to me this weekend?
No, I'm far away from you. But you
Oh.
got Igor, you got Mark Hirsch. You're going to be surrounded by photographers.
Oh, great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Maybe I'm gonna have to call in sick.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
don't
great.
worry about it. You think you have it bad. At least the people next to you are different. I'm next to Xavier Nunez.
Yeah.
And sometimes people cannot differentiate his work from mine sometimes. I don't know how, but
No, his work's pretty different.
Okay, guys, I've got to go. But
Okay, it's been a
it's
pleasure.
it's been lovely.
Yes.
I
Thanks for
talk to you
sponsoring
later,
us,
Ronnie.
hosting us.
Good
Hey,
luck
Katie,
with.
real quick, who took that picture behind you of the graveyard and memorials?
I have no idea. It's a Google image.
Wow, it's beautiful. Nicely done. Yeah, well, guys, be well. I'll see you this weekend, Oscar and Barry. I will
Yep.
see you. then,
Yeah.
down the road,
In a
here
few
in Ann
weeks.
Arbor. And yeah, look forward to it, guys. And Bonnie, thanks for doing a good job with us, tolerating all of us, going off in our directions, whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to y'all later.
All right.
Bye. I'm going to go myself.
Yeah, me too.
Be good.
Yeah, I'll talk to you, Oscar, later.
Bye.